Welcome to Creators Outlet special Saturday night presentation with our special guests, Neff and the Ogden. And Freak Girl in the background.
Woo! We're here to hang out and bro out and talk about comics and stuff.
Yeah, boy.
And we're not here to talk about how much Neff loved
Ahsoka, or how much
guys, look, if I have to watch Clone Wars and then Rebels to care about the characters in Ahsoka, it's not a show I'm going to be invested in. If I have to Google, the fuck was it called? It's not Danthamir. It's Peridia.
Oh, okay.
No, Peridia, the place where Thrawn... If I have to Google that because I don't know where the star map goes, I'm not going to watch it. I want to sit down, I want to watch a show, because storytelling is supposed to inform you about the world that you're in. It's supposed to introduce you to characters that you care about. It's supposed to bring you into a setup that's believable. And I had none of that in the first episode of Ahsoka. Why can't robots run and self-destruct at the same time? Why does her power sliding underneath the little, jet that's supposed to stop her get her the nod from the other constable to just go on her way? Why does Sabine needed to open this star box in the first place? If the witch knows that Ahsoka can't open it and needs Sabine, why didn't they just go to Sabine first? There's so many things okay, one or two of those things might be nitpicky. Yeah, sure. But when I got a laundry list as long as my arm, my suspension of disbelief keeps breaking over and over and over, and it makes the show very hard to watch. Mm-hmm. There's a scene when the droid grabs Sabine. They're on top of a flippin' tower, right? Mm-hmm. And he's holding her there while the other one goes in and smashes up her bedroom and shoots up her computer. Let me ask you, is it more important to smash up that stuff or shoot Sabine in the head? Then nobody cares about that stuff because Sabine is fucking dead. While this guy's shooting up her house, thank God he didn't kill the cat. The cat was the only thing about this episode I liked. Why didn't the other guy just toss her off the balcony? What is the villain's impetus to keep this bitch alive? Right? And then they let her, when she destroys the dude, they wait for her at the bottom. She struggles, finds her stuff, gets in the elevator, boo, 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 elevator music, boo, 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 doors open, we were waiting for you. Why? Why would you get on your fucking speeder bike and leave? What is the point? What if she beat you? What if she beat you? But you know what? It didn't matter because the Padawan of the Sith guy who was there to fight her let the robot keep going. She's like, okay, go with the star map. I'm going to fight her. Why didn't you just ambush her when she came off the elevator? None of this shit makes sense. Sorry.
You're all good, man. Hey, did we at least make it 30 seconds in?
No.
Before Neff's F-bomb?
Neff started cursing? Yeah, no, not at all. Google and YouTube do not like me.
It's like, welcome to Creators Outlet and Neff.
Fuck!
I was like,
it's my setting too.
Violence is my default setting. Yeah, I was looking forward to, because I think Ahsoka's a cool character, right? I've seen some Clone Wars, didn't finish it. Seen some Rebels, didn't finish it. Neither of those shows were really attractive to me as far as animation is concerned. Like Clone Wars has got that very Genndy Tartakovsky sort of kind of. The animation isn't pretty, but the story was kind of cool. I was in it for a while. I thought the relationship between Anakin and Ahsoka was neat, but I don't know, maybe I hit a bunch of filler episodes or something, but I just lost interest and didn't really like the art style all that much, so I went and did something else.
Yeah.
There was a season where they weren't sure if they were going to be able to continue due to the Lucasfilm acquisition, so it got filled up with a lot of fucking filler, I think in season 2. And then when they found out that they were going to be able to continue doing the series, they started to do the Sons of Dathomir arc with the return of Darth Maul and going into Mandalore, and that stuff's pretty damn good.
And then I started watching the Rebels, right? And once again, it was like the animation styles is a little eh. I'm not super feeling it. And I didn't finish Rebels either, so I'm not really attached. I'm not really attached to Ezra Bridger or Sabine Wren or any of these motherfuckers.
He and Kanan Jarrus are Wish.com Star Killer and Ram Koda from Force Unleashed is what they are. And
Gotcha.
I like it. Rebels has some great moments in it. Most of them are in the second season. And there's a really good moment in the third, but like by
my extended Star Wars is Exar Kun and the comics and the shit that happened way predating these cartoon series. So everyone who loved these cartoon series, it's like, okay, fine. You love the happy-go-lucky Y7 TV show. I was reading these comic books, which were brutal. Did you ever read Boba Fett's The Prize?
Oh, dude, absolutely.
That's a brutal fucking comic. It is fantastic. The storytelling in it is, it's so good.
Tales
of the Bounty Hunter over my shoulder. Those are all filled with nothing but Dark Horse Star Wars.
Those boxes?
Yes.
That's a lot of boxes, Will. You're kind of obsessed.
And well, you saw what I did earlier.
Yeah, right? Oh, look, it's Darth Maul! I mean, so my point is that, like, I don't really have the love for these characters the way I have the love for Luke, right? The way I have a love for the original characters. So when I saw Luke at the end of Mandalorian, like, I actually got emotional, right? Especially since they used Luke's theme and he comes in and Baby Yoda's there and he's like, and you're like, it was great. I really enjoyed that. I have fun when the storytelling is sharp, is on point, and it's emotional. This first episode of Ahsoka was slow. It took Ahsoka a good 3 minutes to get the orb out of the little canister that it was in because she was busy turning things. I'm sitting here like, really, hurry up.
Oh, you mean
why? Why?
Fifth Element.
Yes, the scene they stole from Fifth Element in the cube they stole, or the sphere they stole from fucking Treasure Planet. This adventure is Treasure Planet meets The Force Awakens. It's unlock the thing to find the star guide to the place we have to go to fight the bad guy we need to fight. Unlike going and finding Luke Skywalker. But it's the same idea. Like, why do we have these star maps? I get it. I get that the star map is to a place, that it's not to Thrawn, rather than, the star map being to Luke or whatever it was in Force. I couldn't keep that movie fucking straight. I was whatever. So I get that. And Steve, the Star Wars boy who knows fucking everything, was just filling me in on, like, the backstory to all of this, and it actually sounds like it could be pretty good. Like, Thrawn is calling to the witch in her dreams, and she knows where the star globe thing is because she's a witch of Dathomir, and so it's in the cave, and blah. I'm like, all right, great. I don't know any of that watching the show. No. So if you want me to be attached to the show, feed me some kibble, feed me some ideas like Thrawn calls to her in dreams. Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that idea. So there's a reason that she knows where this map is and a reason that she wants it. Why does Ahsoka want the map? How does Ahsoka know the map exists? I don't know. Right? How did the mercenary Jedi that showed up to break out the witch know where the witch was? Is that some sort of, like, quirk of the Force that they could just sense her in hyperspace from God knows where else to, show up on the Republic ship that's flying through space at God knows how fast? There was just so much of this where I'm like, I don't understand how this works. Make it make sense. Odin, make it make sense, right? And this is a type of shit where I'm like, We're on like table flip. It doesn't make sense.
So I tuned in to listen to Nerdrotic rant about this same subject, and it was
Who?
Nerdrotic. He's part of like the Geeks and Gamers crew, I think.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he's another almost boomer that rants like a boomer. You know.
Yeah,
But Neff,
it's
honestly,
okay, Neff.
don't mince words. How do you really feel?
It's okay, Neff. I had my blow up right before the show too, so it's all good. Will brought up another touchy button for me.
Rebel Moon.
A certain trailer, but we're not going to go into that because there are more important things to talk about.
Yes, there is. And let's bring that up because there's no trailer for this.
We're working on it. I actually got sent some of the sample of the audio for the trailer here recently, and I gave my input on which one I thought was the best take that I heard. So I'm very excited. It's going to be a very fun trailer.
So the first question I have to seriously ask is Shadow Band or just unpopular?
Shadow Band.
Go to Indiegogo and search for it. Let's open it here. You know what? I can share my screen if you want.
They have been screwing with our campaign since the beginning, Will. They didn't put us in their algorithm for just launched. They didn't do any of that stuff, and then by Monday we're Shadow Band.
Here, check this out. Check out my screen. Right? Okay, ready. JudeX number 1. That's the name of the campaign, right? Number sign 1. Where is it? Do you see it? I don't see it. Where it at? Oh, I see Dwarfs vs. Junkman. Where it at? Where's my? Yeah, it's not fucking there. It's not there. JudeX number 1 is literally the name of the campaign. It's not there. Let's just try JudeX. Okay, still not there. Great, still not there. All right, what about we go to Explore, right? Explore. I don't know. What should we explore? Maybe comics? It's a comic, right? Let's explore comics. Click Explore Comics. Okay, no, it's not here. This is actually closed. No, it's not Egg Beater or Wonder Island. That's a fucking doll, and it's also closed. This is also closed, and it never met its funding. I thought these were active comic book campaigns. That should be what it is, right? No, not that. This looks like Tyler's book, but it's not. Lone Wolf 2, over, closed, whatever. Do you see JudeX anywhere? Do you see it? I don't see it. Why don't I see it, Will? Why don't I see it? Like that looks like that looks like the Star Circuit logo. Every time I see that, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's Star Circuit. Let's show more. Show me more. Do you see it? I don't see it, and it's not there. I don't think we're gonna find it. We could just keep scrolling and run into. Oh, look, Eternal Armor. This was a 2019 book, and
it's still coming up in the search.
Yeah, it's still coming up in the search. Here's the problem with Indiegogo's come up in the search. It has no rhyme or reason. Like, okay, so here's Displacer. Didn't Shane Davis just launch? Oh no, he launched on his own site. Didn't Ethan just launch Cyberfrog something or other?
Yeah,
he
did.
Where is that?
Nowhere.
Where's that? Have we seen it?
No, because he's doing. Last thing I saw, outside of him being kicked off of Twitter, X, and going back to Facebook, was he started talking about the retro Cyberfrog like Hot Wheels car that he designed.
I searched for Cyberfrog. I'm not seeing Cyberfrog. Oh wait, there's Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog 2 Wrecked Planet that ended, but I don't see the new Cyberfrog. Wasn't there a new Cyberfrog 3? Wasn't there Cyberfrog 3?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's find out. Let's say Cyberfrog number 3 Indiegogo. Red Extermination. Oh, look, there it is. We find it through Google. There it is. it's, raised August 4th, right? But when we search for it in search and we look for it in explore, it's just not coming up. There's Dark Harvest. Where's Red Extermination? I don't see it. Do you see it?
No.
Why don't we see it? So the way that they do their website doesn't make sense to me. It's dumb. But, Kickstarter's not that way. I don't think Fund My Comics that way. Pretty much there's discoverability on all the other sites. The only problem is that the algorithm is, the algorithm being what it is, doesn't always work in your favor on those sites.
Yeah.
Not that it worked in our favor on Indiegogo either. It's just that it was findable. If people could go and type in the name JudeX, they would find it. Or click on Explore in Comics and, oh, look, that's a cool looking black and white book with a dude and a gun. Yeah, I want to try that. But there's so many books are just not there in Explore. Books that are a lot more recent than Eternal Armor. Books that are live and aren't closed campaigns or campaigns that didn't make funding. And the worst part is you can reach out to people on Indiegogo. You can open tickets. You can send them emails. There's never a response. They just close the tickets. Nothing ever happens. So it's like, why are we even using them anymore?
I'm just wondering why Joe Biden is running in Indiegogo.
Oh my God.
Makes sense with the administration being what it is. Just like, no, there's never any, there's no point of contact. There's no responsibility or accountability on that website. It's like, you're fucking me over. Would someone just answer a question, why? What do we have to do to fix it so that you taking 7% of my revenue doesn't feel like you fucking me in the ass? Because all the people that I'm having back my campaign are coming to your site to back it, which means you get a slice of the pie of the people that I'm bringing there. And I know I'm bringing them there because nobody can find my campaign on your website, which means there's no organic traffic to the campaign, and no one's finding it in Explore, and no one's searching for it on the website and finding it. So you can't claim any of the traffic going to my campaign is your doing. So you're just taking money from me and the people that I bring to the website to crowdfund my comic, i.e. your website, and paying you for no reason. Get fucked. I should sue you.
Neff has chosen violence this evening.
Ahsoka really got me worked up.
I had a T-shirt for that when my daughter was born. I actually wore it as I brought her home from the hospital. It's got a pair of brass knucks, and it says, "I know violence isn't the answer. I got it wrong on purpose."
But on the plus side, even despite their shenanigans, we're at 8K. We're spitting distance away from 10. Yeah, it's frustrating that we aren't already there because by all reasons we should be. But I do think that that we can pull it off by the end of the 60-day mark with the right closeout strategy and everything like that. I really do believe. I think that the book's quality speaks for itself. Neff and I have really done just a tremendous job on the story on this and the script, and Fabrizio has brought his A game to the art. I really think that we have something special here.
Well, I'm going to tie this campaign into another campaign that I just had show up on my doorstep the other day, because one of your variant covers is done by Timothy Fling's artist on Call of the Cryptid. And I was blown away by his color work. It was just amazing.
Oh, are you talking about the Erwin J. Rosa variant?
Yeah.
Oh, he did a tremendous job. It's a great piece. It's a beautiful homage to an Alex Ross Shadow cover. It's really good.
Yep.
It was
and it's
so good.
holofoil.
Oh, is it? I hadn't noticed that.
It's a virgin holofoil variant. It's the only color cover I think we have
on this campaign.
On Indiegogo. We have color on the upcoming Kickstarter campaign, but on Indiegogo it's the only color cover we have.
And then of course I noticed the comic book Black Belts cover, and I'm like,
yes.
How do you not buy a Russ Leach
did a
cover?
great job.
How do you not buy a Russ Leach cover that glows in the dark?
Yeah, all the white part glows in the dark, and then the Eiffel Tower that's in the back on that black and black has a satin finish. I think
It
I
has
said
a,
that
a
right
spot
now.
gloss. It has
Spot
a
gloss.
spot
I
gloss.
apologize.
So it's okay. So it's like a little reflective and shiny. You know, when you look at it in
Yeah.
the light, it like catches the light. But the cool thing is that it kind of catches the glow from the glowing
glow in the
character, the just a little bit. So it kind of like has this ghostly outline on it. And then the regular black is a matte black satin. So yeah, it's a 3 finishes on the cover. That's not cheap. I know I'm a cover nerd talking about like all the different things I like doing on my cover, and it very rarely gets appreciated. But it doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it.
I've got spot UV. I think on all those issues I got in that big giant 20-pound box of Mavericks.
Yeah, there's spot glossed, and most of it's embossed too. And if you see the Rob Willis cover has soft touch lamination, and it's got the spot gloss, and then it's got embossed spot gloss to try and give it that like 3-dimensional effect. So the regular robot is spot gloss, and then around him is the regular gloss, and then the building is raised and embossed spot gloss to kind of make it feel that the building is closer to you than the robot. But yeah, there's a lot of cover figures, like just the basic cover, right, has some beautiful spot gloss and that soft touch UV treatment on the cover. So like we like doing prestige level stuff, right? We like making boutique books. You're not going to find that in stores on floppies as much. There are a lot of people in indie comics that like to do treatments, cover treatments. Bancroft's definitely one of them. Vaughn, if you picked up Terror in the Trenches recently, he's got a beautiful spot gloss and foil on that. Lawson actually did a gold foil for the Kill Journal. He also did a really nice finish on the Psycho Killers book that he did with Vaughn. So like there are a lot of people who take their book making, the form and function of the book seriously. So they take their storytelling seriously, but they also want to put out a product that's just a little bit of a cut above what people expect in comics.
I'm trying to see. Nope, wrong one. Wrong one. It's going to be the last one. I know it is. Is it going to be the last one? No, second to last one. This is
what you got?
One of the cover that I loved from Call of the Cryptid. It's an X-Files homage cover, and the camera won't do it.
It's holofoil. Cool. Yeah,
holofoil, and done. I bought like all their covers because it got me a really cheap version of the wooden laser etched cryptid art.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So that finish, that shiny finish that you like, is the same thing you're going to get on the Erwin Arosa cover on this campaign.
Very nice. See, I can tie stuff together. Besides Erwin and Ahsoka.
Fucking Ahsoka! Oh my god! I don't know why I'm salty about it. I am so salty about it.
Neff is getting as offended as I was about the teal and purple from this test page I got the other day. It offended me to my core.
Today, in the role of Luke Stone, will be nefarious.
Does Luke get worked up like I do?
Oh.
Okay. All right. Okay, good.
I have to. He'll put something out, and I'll have to like DM him. Like, remember a few years ago when you used to be a minister, and then he goes into this long explanation of this is why I said what I said, and I said what I said. That's it. I'm salty.
I love Luke. It's really funny because when I first met him, he was like very reserved. Like I had seen Luke Stone get angry once, and it was in a green room discussion with Mandy Wheeler back when she was pulling her her crowdfunding scam site. Oh God, what was that called? Fund My Comic, right? No, not Fund My Comic. What was the one before? It was Fund My Comics is Luke's one.
Luke is just
Mandy
hired
Wheeler.
an Amish guy with a bunch of cows to drop some poo on your lawn.
What was it freaking called? I can't even remember.
I can't remember what it was called. All I can remember is the fact that
the only campaign that made any money was hers, and it was like a boob book, and they had Mike Barron's one of Mike Barron's big books that he had done right when he got into indie, that on all the other platforms he ran it on cleared 5 figures and was like mid to high 5 figures on all of his other campaigns. And so it was like, all right, this is some shenanigans, and it was just a terrible site. And I remember Mandy Wheeler was trying to like spout out all these numbers behind the scene, and Luke started to like call her on them, and she just goes, well, actually you're wrong, and like kind of patronized him, and Luke went off. It was the first time I'd ever seen that man like really angry. Like I'd seen him be annoyed, and I'd heard him have some like flustered rants, but I had never seen him mad until then. And then in like the last year or two, Luke has taken the kitty gloves off and is like not even dealing with people's nonsense anymore. And granted, he's been through a hell of a lot, so I totally get it. But it has been really interesting to see. Is like, man, the Luke Stone that I knew like literally took his time to like write a like brilliantly crafted like notice of him leaving Starcross Comics that was like a way to just kind of like distance himself from it, because he like wasn't happy. It was no longer something where they saw the same path forward for hybrids and what have you, and so he had left. But like he could have gone off and been like super like there was a lot of things with that, but like now it's like but like instead he was like very reserved, and now it's like, oh no, if that had happened today, it would have been like there would have been fisticuffs. Is it like, yeah, Luke is a great guy. I've really loved getting to know him over the past few years, and he's done crazy amount for me as a creator, especially when I was starting off. But
so why don't you give us some of the back history of JudeX?
Yeah,
ours or the original?
Well, there's a tie-in point. So I know there's like an old black and white movie that you can find if you look for it.
Yeah, it's a series of serials that you can find. They're all up on YouTube. Altogether, I think it's like 17 episodes, and it comes out to like, I want to say like 5 hours all in total.
I haven't watched them.
I have.
I haven't watched them because they're irrelevant to what we're doing.
They are. I watched them early on when I was doing research.
I bet it's better.
You're gonna have to summarize them for me then at some point.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, write a book report, or a movie report.
I'll write you a book report. I'll do it.
I'm sure they were compelling for 1916 silent film serialized black and white movies.
Don't threaten me with academia.
No, you do have a point, right? Guys, don't ever threaten Odin or like make a joke about him writing some sort of academic paper, because he'll fucking do it. He does it for fun. It's scary.
I'll send you a 12-page dissertation on the JudeX serials.
And then I'll look like the shit if I don't read it, right? I'll look like the asshole if I'm not the one who actually reads it, because he'll have fucking footnotes in there. I'm not kidding.
One night he'll invite you on to co-host 9 Realms, and the entire subject will be the serials of JudeX.
Yeah, exactly.
So the serials of JudeX were a much smaller scale story. It's kind of got a feel like Alexandre Dumas' Count of Monte Cristo, he very much feels like an Edmond Dantes style character who's out to try and get revenge against this corrupt banker that like ruined his father. And the first or second episode was called The Living Shadow. And between that reason and the character's design with the slouch cap and the cloak, there's a lot to suggest that he may have been a chief inspiration for Walter B. Gibson's The Shadow. And that's really what drew my attention to him first. And, you know, I had this idea to kind of shift him and give him new life as this cultural defender of Paris during the Second World War. And it turned out to be like an even greater thing from a meta aspect, because at one point Neff pointed out that, you know, JudeX, while we were doing research, is that JudeX was actually the character that they used to print shadow stories in France during the Nazi occupation. They didn't
write JudeX stories. They just printed shadow stories under the name JudeX.
Yeah,
so it was kind of like
Cranston was still the character, but every single time that he became the shadow, it would be he's now JudeX.
But if you look at the original serial art, like the art for the stills taken from the serial, he looks very much like the Shadow. So it was a 1916 film, and the look may have influenced the look of the Shadow, right? Like they may have
even the powers. The
mesmerism, sure. And then it was
hypnotism.
so similar that the French were able to run the Shadow under the name JudeX, and people weren't really all that much the wiser. So the two are definitely inexorably linked.
So it kind of created this whole like metatextual thing where we had JudeX be this shadowy avenger in Paris during the Nazi occupation. It's there not only to fight the Nazis, but the principal point of JudeX is Latin for judge. So he's there to judge his people for their inaction in the face of this occupation. Obviously the Nazis are bad guys, and that's all well and good, but I think that this is actually one of the fresher aspects of how we're handling this story. Is everyone's seen superheroes punch Nazis in the face since the 1940s. It's not new. But the thing that I really liked and I wanted to explore with this is the idea of this character trying to call to the spirit of the Parisian people who very specifically have either, rolled over to the occupation or even helping the new regime in some capacity, and trying to determine the level of their guilt and what punishment comes with that. And so that's where we get this idea for like this first story where he's focused on this French police officer who's serving the Vichy regime in France. And so like that is the object of his judgment. This character is the object of his judgment. Yes, he's going to take out the Nazis because the Nazis are jackbooted thugs that are oppressors. They're interlopers. They're stomping on French culture. They can't be spared. They're done. But this guy was a Frenchman. So why can't he hear his city? Why can't he hear his city? Why can't he hear that what he's doing to it is allowing it to die? This horrible death that's not befitting of this capital of culture in continental Europe since the medieval period, frankly. And he is out there to render judgment to this police officer, and that's what we have going in the first book. And the other beautiful part about this is as we continue forward, while we've established an underlying narrative that'll like weave all the stories that we tell going forward together in a loose way and come to a culminating point, each one of these stories is its own little self-contained narrative.
So basic one shots, but it goes through kind of like a history arc. Like this happened in this book, and then this happened in the next book, but it's complete.
Yeah,
So
yeah. There it is. It is linear.
Fulfilled at the end of the issue.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. There's.
Go on, Neff.
Go ahead. All right, fine. It is a cohesive narrative, right, with a beginning, a middle, and an end in each issue. It feeds into a larger whole that, as you read each issue, unfolds before you. But that takes its time bringing itself about. And then, however many issues in, I estimate about 5, we start really hitting the rhythm of the meta plot, which is going to be this throwdown between JudeX and his kind of arch nemesis, Ritter von Wotan, which is the character with the scars on his face. You can see him in the stretch goal section down at the bottom. There are stickers of him. There's a trading card of him. He's in the first issue. He's actually got a 7-page epilogue in the first issue all to himself, and what he's doing there. And as the stories about JudeX and what JudeX is doing, piece together, each story being a self-contained arc where he goes and does a thing and then it's over. He and Ritter are drawn closer together, and then will be a meeting between the two, which kind of kicks off the real series ride. But we're doing this sort of slow burn build to get there, and that's the type of storytelling that I really like to do, fleshing out the world, going at a reasonable pace. You don't do a giant expo dump, but you also don't do nothing for 5 minutes, but watch someone fucking spin around a little stone pillar. Oh, never mind. Sorry.
We're losing him again. All right,
bro. The pacing was so just. You got excited, you got amped up to see a thing, and then it was just like, no, sit in the fucking room for an hour.
And luckily, that's not an experience you will have with JudeX. The first book is 36 pages. It's a very brisk read, but it's a very good read. It's got so much substance to it. Neff, are you the one sharing the screen?
No,
I don't know. I think that's Will.
Awesome. Let's scroll down a bit. I want to show off some of the interior art in here and talk a little about like the all the fun little visual things that we throw into this, because I am a huge nerd for a lot of things, obviously, but French culture, French history, and stuff like that is a particular hot button for me. So if we scroll down a little bit, we get this awesome shot of the Court of Miracles, which is JudeX's it's effectively his bat cave, right? It's this catacomb hideout filled with these cultural artifacts of French culture. And so even on that page with him on the chandelier, that chandelier is from the Parisian Opera House from Phantom of the Opera. It's the one that the Phantom cuts at the climax of the book and of the play. And then if you scroll down a little bit, going to the Court of Miracles, here you get these shadow boxes that display these French artifacts. The sword there is the sword of D'Artagnan, from Three Musketeers. The letters are the letters of Cyrano de Bergerac. The Iron Mask was, obviously the Iron Mask. Which is from Dumas, but even from history, there was like the reason that was the whole thing that informed Alexander Dumas' piece. And then the music box, of course, again, a Phantom of the Opera reference, which actually in the first draft of the script was supposed to be Esmeralda's Red Slippers, but both Neff and I agreed it was too obscure a reference, and especially with us going the black and white route on the art, people wouldn't have been able to tell the color anyway, so that it would have just been like weird slippers there that it would have. I don't think that there were many people that would have understood. Mm-hmm. We wanted it to be very recognizable artifacts that people could pick up on pretty quickly.
At first, I thought it was the monkey that just went ching, 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 ching.
I mean, it is, but
That's the music box that plays Masquerade in Phantom of the Opera, which
Oh, okay.
yeah, like it's it.
Which,
It's,
you know what's great about that? You don't have to have seen Phantom to appreciate that little Easter egg. It's just, oh, cool monkey. You know? You don't have to have watched an entire other series in order to appreciate the fucking Easter egg you put in the page. Yeah, exactly. I see Will like,
It's the monkey from that horror movie. Ching, 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 ching.
Oh goodness!
And it was even funnier for me because I used to have one of those when I was a kid. Because
they're fun, but yeah, like Fabrizio does this a great job on the art where we've got this great black and white movie aesthetic, and it plays into the morality tale of the book. I personally think
it's a metaphor.
Everything's a metaphor.
No, this is a gun. Although, actually, you're right. The gun's a fucking metaphor too, isn't it? Tell them about the gun. Tell them about the gun metaphor.
The gun metaphor. So as we have JudeX walking up on this box labeled Le Veuve, and we reveal our pistol. So this is the widow, or Le Veuve. That's what that means in French. And so the Le Veuve was what the French called the guillotine in the French Revolution. And so this gun is made from the metal of that was the blade of the guillotine that executed Louis XVI, Marie Antoinette, Maximilien Robespierre, all of these figures of the French Revolution that get killed throughout the reign of terror and what have you. And so it's been reforged into this pistol and it's kind of a character in and of its own right. This gun has the ability where in the hands of JudeX, justice is exact, which means that the gun only ever is loaded with however many rounds that it needs for justice to be served. Now, if he's fighting a whole army of Nazis, this kind of unlocks an unlimited ammo cheat because, the Nazis all need to be taken out. But if there's a person there like Officer Javert, and let's say depending on what the judgment is going to be, the gun already knows. And so there may or may not be around for that person.
Like the Shadow. The Shadow knows, and so does the gun. So it's a way for him to not have to reload this Peacemaker, because in order to load a Peacemaker, you have to load it using the loading gate, which goes one round at a time into the cylinder. And watching someone load and unload a gun that way is a death sentence when you're fighting people with automatic weapons like Nazis, right? Yeah. So it's like, he's not going to go 6 shots, aha, click, 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 click. That's not going to happen. No, that's stupid.
Even someone with a trench knife.
Right? Multiple trench knives. One in his teeth, 2 in his hands, 2 in his boots. That's actually we do have a guy. They have a really good fight. They have a really cool fight.
They do. It's really cool. And so Vaughn's, we do have a crossover with Vaughn's Black Terror. It's a small little ash can. I believe it's 12 pages of story, and it's a really fun story about JudeX and the Black Terror going after this Nazi warlock necromancer who has revived a coven of vampires, of sexy vampires in Paris. So, and so JudeX and Black Terror team up, and it very much feels like the world's finest cartoon from back in the day with Superman and Batman from their respective animated series, where they show up, they have a little bit of a tussle, and then they realize, oh wait, we're not meant to be fighting each other, we're supposed to be fighting this guy. And
it's not an original plot by any means. It's two buddy cop it's a buddy cop situation. Two guys who wouldn't normally like each other wind up teaming up to take on a third guy who, if left unchecked, will do something really bad. Like that story is incredibly common, but it's familiar and it's fun. And, Vaughn wrote it, so, it works really well. The characters gel really well. There's some fun moments, really great panels from Monica, wonderful colors from Tiago. So I think it's, just an enjoyable little mini comic crossover between the two characters playing kind of in JudeX's sandbox.
Yeah, it's like the Shadow has always been like a favorite of mine because my mother used to tell me, because the joke about in my day we used to sit around, get stoned, listening to the radio. My mother used to listen to all the radio dramas, like
oh man,
Batman,
I love those.
Superman, Sherlock Holmes, and the aforementioned Shadow. And I had a friend who he passed many years ago. He wrote a lot of animated episodes for different shows in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And he had this very niche video store, which would carry videos that you would never find anyplace else. And he used to sell the old vinyl from those radio dramas.
That's
for a while,
awesome.
he'd go and do a show in New York. And I'm like, oh, what show are you doing? He goes, well, they're going to have this, this, and this. I go, well, you know what I like? He's like, yep. And he'd come back with like 3 or 4 albums and, here you go. $70. Okay, cool. Thanks, bye.
That's awesome, man. Like the Shadow radio programs are great. My favorite episode is The Man Without a Face. That should give me nightmares as a kid. I love it. Just the way the voice actor did The Man Without a Face's lines. I was like, ugh.
The gun has a face.
The gun does have a face. The gun has the face of Lamar Young, which is the embodiment of justice, of revolutionary justice at that, in French culture.
Revolution.
Vive la revolution. And that's
the Lamar Young.
Like, yeah, you get so the coin is actually, so you're a big fan of the Shadow. You know how the Shadow gives the ruby rings out to his agents? This is that. JudeX gives this modified franc to his to the people that join his court, his cause.
Yay. We got yelled at by the coin company when we designed the collectible coin.
Yeah, we did.
That it was too close to a real French franc and they didn't want to make counterfeit currency. So we either had to change the size, the weight, the dimensions, or change the, thing on the back. So we altered it and made it the scales of justice.
Which I think works.
Oh yeah, I think it works great.
Special. It makes it special and unique, and it's something
it's a custom, special franc that, like the ruby rings, right? Like you were saying.
Yeah, it's
not like he just goes down to the corner store and gets a ruby ring and like, hey, yo, here's a piece of jewelry. No, it's not like he's just fishing francs out of his pocket.
Now, is there something specific about the barrel? Since it's basically
it's twisty.
I know it's twisty.
So when I was designing this, when it came down to redesigning JudeX, his initial design, JudeX didn't have was like barefaced. He had the hat and the cloak, but there wasn't anything to tie them together. And so, and he didn't have a weapon. And I knew that we're doing Nazi occupation. He's going to be fighting Nazi. He needs a gun. But I didn't just want to give him, like the Shadow has the dual Colts, right? The dual Colt 45s. And so I didn't just want to give him a contemporary gun. With how much I was playing off of the revolutionary ideals and having him be this cultural defender of Paris and everything, he needed to have a special gun with its own personality that really fit the aesthetic of the world and everything like that. And I didn't want it to be I knew that I wanted to do the whole blade of the guillotine thing right when I started designing this, but I didn't want it to be a flintlock because that would suck. Like there's no way that you can do that and make that work against a somewhat modern fighting force.
Unless you just had magical unlimited bullets and didn't really need
even with a
flint.
flintlock, that would be dumb.
And didn't need
work.
flint. You just sort of like pointed it and
no, it would be so dumb. But like I really liked the idea.
We have just the right amount of dumb in his weapon.
Yeah, I really liked the idea of it being a revolver because I loved the idea of at the end
what goes around comes around.
Well, like, I also love the idea of, at the end of the book, him unloading the shell casings and seeing the shell casings fall, and you count them and see how many. And as you well know, Will, for the Shadow, he has those isms, right? Like those expressions that define that inform his character. And so, like, one of JudeX's is justice is exact in the hands of JudeX. And so, like, I really liked the idea of the revolver because it makes it easier to see that whole element of how many rounds did the gun use. It gives it that visual thing, and it's not so far back of a firearm where it would be completely useless in a World War II setting. I mean, people still.
It's basically a semi-automatic gun that never runs out of bullets as long as you're a bad guy. And yes, exactly. Well, that means if his mission takes him up against 100 Nazis, he's sitting there going 1, 2, 3 at the end of the night, just unloading the shell casings, be like, "Oh, that was Hans, that was Franz, that was Herbert," No, but seriously,
they keep falling.
They keep falling out, just one after another. Gosh. It's a real easy way to like mine for copper, right? Or like brass, actually, because they're brass bullet casings. Really easy way to mine for brass. Just kill a whole bunch of Nazis and then collect the shell casings as they come out of the gun.
And sell them.
Oh, man.
Yes. It's almost like the A-Team had this gun back in the 80s.
Right, yeah, they never needed to reload.
They never ran out of a bullet.
Except no one ever got shot on that show. Plenty of people get shot in this book.
Yeah.
Yes. They do. They get
poor
gunned down.
Planters. Oh my God. Clay pots. R.I.P.
Oh
yeah,
man.
A lot of dead clay pots. A lot of dead tires. Yeah. Lots of things died on that show that weren't people.
Yeah. Careers died on that show.
Oh snap.
Oh.
Now, where did the design for the mask come from?
So
all right, so I shared a screen with you.
So that was.
Ooh.
So this was I had worked with an initial artist, and I came up with this idea where I really wanted him to have a carnival style masquerade mask and work in the facade of the scales of justice.
So as you can see on the mask here, you've got the central, what the hell you call that? Like the candlestick of the scales, right? You've got the two arms over his brows.
Yeah,
you've got the chains that hang down to the scales themselves, which are under his eyes, and it sort of creates like a little bit of a Y shape around his face. We did rework that, but the initial concept for the mask here, especially with all of like the little swirlies and carnival elements, that was all Odin's doing well before I even came on to the project. But then once he started refining it, I turned it into this with the X.
Yeah, and it still maintains the facade of the scales, but then it also has the X, which creates a a really
It's just
good,
a cooler looking symbol
Yeah.
than a Y, in my opinion. It's an easier, more identifiable
Well,
symbol. There's a reason they're the X-Men, not the Y-Men.
it creates.
He was
a-
Malcolm
wait,
X, not
wait,
Malcolm
wait.
Y.
Wait for the MCU to piss you off,
Oh
because
man,
it will
please don't.
be the Y man.
Ugh.
Oh god, no. We don't talk about that. I'll just leave that shit dead at this point.
No, man, it'll still be the X-Men, Will.
Literally.
Ugh. Did you just assume my gender? Anyways,
I assumed your mutant power.
How dare you?
I can't believe you dead named me. Cyclops. I'm not.
Oh
not
boy.
anymore.
Oh boy.
Cyclops.
But yeah, that's
This isn't
where
a
the
funny
look
subject
came
either,
from,
'cause,
right?
You know, because trans women are real dudes. So, deal with it.
That's what Odin did here is he created a carnival mask, right, with the scale motifs under the eyes. We just kind of reworked the chains a little bit so that it wasn't so literally the scales of justice, because it kind of got hard with those eyebrows. I mean, those seriously look like they need to be tweezed. You know what I mean? Like, those are some serious eyebrows. So this was just a little bit more of an easier design on the face. And
Yeah, it just made in comics, it's important to have simplistic design that it can be easily replicated as well. And I think
And then Jim Lee screws up and draws the sole of Batman's foot. So.
What do you want to see? You've got access to the Google Drive right now. What do you want to see?
I would just like Mavericks issue 2 after we go off the air.
Okay, all right, we can do that. That's the JudeX drive you're looking at, not the Mavericks drive. You know what I could show you? I could show you. I mean, I've shown it off on another show, so it's not an exclusive technically. But I can show you Actually, I don't think it's in this drive. I think I have to share the screen from my conversation with Odin earlier, because I think that's where I put all
and
of
you're gonna
the...
you're gonna have to dig, because we had a
jeez.
conversation.
Yeah, really, I really do have to go digging, don't I? Good lord. What the fuck?
Because I've sent you videos and all sorts of dumb shit.
Yep, you do. Okay.
Man,
let's look at this.
That Nero video with the freaking
Wonderwall. With Wonderwall, you nerd.
That shit made me laugh so hard.
Oh yeah, you sent me these pictures.
I did? Okay, cool. These are, it's JudeX's face, right? And it looks like it's small enough to be fit between your thumb and your finger, because we're making a JudeX fig. I don't know if did you see the full size? There's 6-inch and 9-inch ones.
Okay, cool. Oh man,
you sent me the pictures with the arms with the gun and
yeah, cool.
It was 4 or 5 pictures.
These are my DMs.
Hello DMs.
Everyone's
These are my DMs.
Everybody's doxed.
Everybody gets a dox.
But yeah, that's the next thing that we're doing, and I'm trying to figure out how to paint pinstripes, which is not easy. I don't want to do them freehand because that's nearly impossible given the texturing of the cloth in his clothes. So we're trying to, I guess, carve at least some thin scoring into the character so that I can use contrast paints to paint the pinstripes, because, like I said, I can't freehand it. I don't think anybody can freehand it. It'll look terrible. So that's something I'm working on with the designer right now, the sculptor, the engineer, and then we're going to be adding more articulation to it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I saw,
dude, I've learned so much about making figures and action figures, and the different types of joints that get used where, and why certain joints are used over others, and what dimensions are necessary to ensure that a particular type of joint over a different joint is durable enough to resist wear. I learned about materials. I've had as much of a education in fabrication of 3D sculpts, action figures, and miniatures in the past 6 months that I did in the first 2 years studying how to make comics.
That's
crazy.
Insane.
I've been absorbing all of this information. I could just, tell you so much.
The plastic addiction is real.
It is. It is. I mean, I've always been able to like paint miniatures. Well, I'm not always able to paint it. I've been painting miniatures. I did have to learn like everybody else. I just come out being like, look at me. No, I've been painting miniatures and I've been able to paint miniatures. But this is a different scale of painting, I guess. In a way, it's easier because you're painting larger 6 to 9 inch figures, which means the details are more pronounced, which means you don't have to have such a tiny, fine hand that's got such control and precision. But at the same time, like that also means that there's more to apply and therein more to fuck up.
Way back in the day, I was like still in high school, and my favorite book at that time was Wolfman and Perez's New Teen Titans. And Mayfair Games had come out with the DC Heroes role-playing game, and they released minis, and they released the minis that encapsulate like the first story arc of the Baxter run. So it had it had all the Titans that were in the story at that point, including Deathstroke and Trigon.
Yeah.
And by the time I finished attempting to paint them with the wrong kind of paint, it looked like a bag of Skittles took a monster dump on the Teen Titans.
You, sir, needed acrylics, and you needed to thin your paints. That's the biggest problem that most people don't know how to do. If you're going to be using oil-based, or you're going to be using something that requires like a paint thinner to thin, you still got to thin those paints. At least acrylics can be cut with water. And you dilute those and you apply in thin coats. It means that you're going to have to paint the miniature at least twice after you prime and sand. So you have to get used to the idea that you're going to paint something 2 times, but the application is going to look smoother and has less flaws, no bumps, no clumps, no none of that. Rather than kind of like dabbing on one coat and having it have like chunky bits attached to your mini. Nobody likes chunky bits.
I learned that years later when I worked in an epoxy spray booth. But at this time, I was lacking the most important thing when doing any form of art or decor on minis, and that word is patience. Because I was 14. So there were a lot of F-bombs.
That'll do it.
A lot of grounding from my mother because I was throwing these things so hard that Nightwing and his disco collar are probably still embedded in one of my old bedroom walls.
That's amazing.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So
there's Nightwing's legs sticking out.
it's like,
I remember painting HeroClix minis and like making HeroClix minis into other characters by altering the costumes, outfits, and kind of kit bashing them with other stuff that we had laying around. I mean, Garrett got me into kit bashing, and then into remodeling, and then into cutting miniatures apart and using pins to alter the positions and poses into ways that they weren't intended to be, using green stuff to conceal the pins and to maintain the through line so that the joints look natural, and then paint those so you have miniatures in poses that just aren't supposed to be that way. And people look at it and go, well, that miniature doesn't glue that way. How'd you do that? And you're like, well, I mean, I cut it apart and then reassembled it because I like making more work for myself.
you reach under the table and start your chainsaw. I did it like this.
Right.
And here's me with the coin. The finger coin flip, little magician trick there.
Yep.
That was a nice little homage to the whole hypnotism aspect that JudeX has in the silent film. I wanted to pay some subtle homages to his roots.
I mean, he literally mesmerizes them with a coin trick. It's not that subtle.
You know what, Neff? Okay.
It's good. I think it's great. I loved that page, the way he just sort of like entrances them, and they're gone, right? The only thing they see is the coin. I think it worked perfectly. And it is an homage to the old silent film, the powers that he had. but it's literal, there's no real veiled meaning there. You don't really need to know that when you're reading the book to go, oh, that's fucking cool. That's the thing about JudeX that I really like. He's just effing cool, right? He can have any power we really need him to have by incorporating a new French relic into his arsenal or his repertoire. Like, was it the other day we were joking about including like the breastplate of Charlemagne if he needed like, bulletproofness.
I do actually got some Charlemagne relics to talk about with you on that.
And that's the cool thing about France, especially, is there are so many cultural touchstones and objects of myth and legend. I mean, like, only I think Great Britain can equal it, maybe. Oh well, I guess Rome too, because
I mean, we could even have right? Lancelot's sword show up at some point, because Lancelot.
We could, and then he could be dual wielding. He could be dual wielding with against Ritter. Ritter's got his German saber in his claw, and then JudeX would be like, you thought I was left-handed and only brought one sword.
Dude,
he pulls out the Lancelot sword, like up his sleeve, and pulls it out. Yeah, there's a lot of shit he could do.
Yeah, like there's a lot of fun stuff.
Well, if he pulls out Lancelot's sword, does that mean he's going to defeat that character and then sleep with his wife?
Well,
possibly. He didn't defeat Arthur, but he did sleep with his wife.
He did sleep with Guinevere. I can
Poor Arthur.
Lancelot is the first fan fiction character. He really is. The French got wind of Arthurian lore and went, this is really cool. We're going to make our own knight in King Arthur that's going to sleep with King Arthur's queen and be better than all the English knights, and he's going to be distinctly from like one of our northern kingdoms along the Normandy coast. Like
Dulac of the lake.
Dulac is of the lake, which technically technically makes his origins in England, but he's a French knight. His first appearance is in Le Morte d'Arthur by Thomas Malory, who was a French.
Say it like you're a normal person. It's Thomas Mallory. Say it like an American. Be American, Odin. Be American. Mallory.
He's trying to sound like he's about to surrender before the war begins.
Oh, don't
don't get him started about it. He will give you an hour-long lecture about why the French are ferocious, in combat, and how they have a long, storied history of military campaigns and successes.
In terms of military history, the French have had more wins in military history from modern history going back to the medieval period, and even if you include some of the Gallic victories against the Latins and the Romans early on in the early Republic and before, they have probably the longest standing record of military wins in world history. So
we're all very impressed in them.
Just for defending their wine cellars.
So a lot of that stuff comes from frickin' World War II. Where the French government completely mismanaged the defense of France, which I am not going to get into.
Thank God.
They actually had an opportunity to end the war before it started, but they thought that they were walking into a trap. And so they pulled back. But they had an army that got into the heartland of Germany without much resistance at all, and they thought that they were walking into a trap in Berlin, and they went back.
They could have just killed Hitler with a...
the German army was in Poland at the time. They had like one reserve corps left to defend Germany, and France had them completely outnumbered. If they had continued their offensive, they would have steamrolled over them and gotten to Berlin before Hitler could be evacuated, and it would have been war over. But anyways, going back to JudeX, this is just a great book, and we have great tiers. We have
that offer people incredible value. And as I said, man, like, that Fraternité featured tier is probably
I think
one
it's
of
the best value, right?
on
If you were going to do it numerically, like if you were going to break it down by the numbers, the main issue if we send it to store is going to be around like 6 or 7, somewhere in there, probably closer to 6, right? The variant cover is going to be 15 a pop, right? So right there, you're looking at 37. You got the coin, which is going to be, I think, 10. You got the rich print, which is another 10. You've got the metal print from Monica, which could be up to 15. You've got the mini comic crossover itself, which I don't think we're going to even put a price on that because I don't want to sell them anywhere outside of the campaign. Maybe my table at the conventions. It's not long enough to go to comic shops, so it's kind of like exclusive to the funding and to Global Frequency's website. But like when you total it all up, you really are getting a significant value. It's got to be at least 30% off at $50. But we've done that with all of the tiers. We tried to get them down at a significant discount from what the market value of the things are that we're selling. And that includes like the stuff like the mask and the Widow replica firearm revolver thing, and of course the full JudeX, which has the cape on it, because we're not even certain how much the cape costs to make yet. We have to get all of the fabric still, depending upon your size, because if we're doing a cape for you, Will, we need a little bit more fabric than if we're making a cape for me. I'm 5'8.5", 9", right? And 170 pounds. I am a knocked over by a stiff breeze. So I don't get to have a cape that is significantly larger. But if you were to get the cape, man, we would make a cape tailored to your measurements. But it depends upon, like how much fabric we need and how difficult it is to make the pattern. We wouldn't sell those off the campaign because it's a custom piece. We're literally making them for the people that get the tier.
The backers.
The backers. That's why there's only 3. Like, Frequency Girl is the one who's going to be tailoring this according to the hybrid pattern that she has, because she had to like break down multiple patterns to figure this out, and she had to order the cape interior fabric custom, and it's the same fabric that JudeX has. It's the same pattern that JudeX has on the interior of his cape. We actually got the pattern breakdown from Fabrizio and then created that pattern and replicated it and got custom fabric made. But that's the thing, like we like doing special stuff that's in world, that's, enhances the experience of the campaign, makes it kind of a fun event rather than just like, lunch boxes and t-shirts, which it's not bad. I just don't think JudeX is the kind of IP that loans itself to lunch boxes, Mavericks maybe, but not JudeX.
Not unless you open it up and there's, like a time bomb in it or something.
Right. Take that, Hitler!
It's a time bomb disguised as an alarm clock. Or is it the other way around? We're not sure.
Will, how big is your head? How big is your head? Like the circumference of your head? Do you happen to know?
No.
What size hat do you wear?
It's been described as friggin' Flintstone, so...
Flintstonian?
Yeah. It's very bedrocky. I usually, depending on the hat maker, either a large or an XL, because now I basically don't have hair anymore. When I had hair, I used to wear like a 2X hat because I had a lot of thick.
So this hat, hat from 10th Street Hats, the only place that I've been able to find 2X hats in this style. If you look at it on my head, look at how much extra room is in this hat. I can fit my fist.
But it's designed to hold the mask up too, so.
Right, but that's why. That's why I got it at this size. I just don't want people like yourself with giant noggins to run into problems, which is why I didn't want to offer the hat on the campaign, because I didn't want to send people hats and have them be like, yo, this doesn't fit, fix it. So I will be sending out hats but there's no guaranteeing that your Flintstone head will fit with the mask and the hat on together. Although I personally have measured on human adult-sized heads, and the combination works no matter what size head you have. But there are some people out there who are, just a cut above the rest of us, right? Who have godly proportions, not mere, proportions of mere mortals, and your Flintstonian head might be that type of head. I don't know. I just don't want to.
I got the body.
I don't want you to have a hat that doesn't.
Buddha,
Will's like, I've got the body of a god. Outstanding.
It's Buddha, okay? It's Buddha. I have the body of Buddha.
Ganesha, yeah, right.
Because I saw that she was making the capes on the campaign. I'm like, oh, I didn't know she did this stuff.
Oh, she does. She does all sorts of costuming. Like we have a pretty extensive background in prop making, cosplay, actual armor making. Like she's a leathersmith. We make leather breastplates, bracers, greaves, pauldrons, all sorts of stuff. We just haven't done it in a while because, dude, it takes a lot of time dyeing leather. You get the dye in your hands. It's awful. Dyeing leather is terrible. I always do the embroidery and like the finery work, the filigree work, any of the etching or anything that like requires the detail, because that's where my skill set comes in. But she's wicked with a sewing machine. She's really good with her leather tools. And like when we work on cosplay projects and stuff, like Garrett, the artist on the first Mavericks book, he's also really crafty. So like we would all get together and make craft foam armor, and we would make latex weapons, and we would like modify and repaint and like make changes to Nerf guns and make them look entirely different, function the same, right? But like the bodies would be entirely different, and use those in like campaigns and stuff that we would play when we go to like LARPs and all that other silly shit we did when we were in our 20s. But yeah, like our experience with that goes back like 20 years. So we don't just make comics over here.
Yeah, he was crafty. That's why you used to chain him to a table to draw the book and spin straw into gold. So
yes. I mean, like
So
stuff
for a
like this.
split second-
That's why I knew I could make. That's why I knew I could make the JudeX mask.
oh yeah,
Right?
that's-
Because you just like
So cool.
with the interior, like actually used sponges in this one because it's mine and it doesn't have to look pretty. But like with the back strap, which is what the mask is going to have to keep it on your face, you just attach these to the alligator clips, and then you've got a mask that'll stay on no matter what you do, right? So that's kind of what my idea was. I was like, oh, we'll just use the alligator clip and nylon strap from the Dynamis mask, and we'll put the slotting into the base of the mask, the rim of the mask, and then we'll do our own special little JudeX back plate for the back of your head, so that it won't get held in place. We even airbrushed it a little bit, right, to give it a little bit of a shine.
I
just haven't put it together because I'm lazy.
I'm very excited to get my mask. I want that mask.
See, I thought I had a thought for a second when I first saw, that she's making the capes, and I'm like, she could make me a Mavericks cup. Oh no, I'll look like a pot by the fucking stove.
Let's see.
First to
We're here, well.
He's just holding his chin like, oh, I should have just kept talking about Ahsoka, damn it.
No, do not bring it back. This is a
coins.
page.
The splatter shot.
Man, my favorite page we ended up having to take down from the campaign in our efforts to try and appease the Indiegogo twats. To try and get our campaign not shadow banned.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I remember a few months ago, talking to Pizza, and they made him take down or edit a page of somebody's campaign on their quarterly campaign that had already been up, funded, and nobody said a damn thing about. But now they hired apparently another soy boy that I don't like it.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
We have this beautiful page where you get to see, like, JudeX is looking down at this freaking German soldier, and there's a pool of blood under the guy's head, and you can see JudeX's mask reflected in the pool. It's really cool.
Nope. He wasn't still there. He just dropped off.
No, yeah, like I think that I don't know.
I think he crashed.
Probably his Wi-Fi will get wonky from time to time. As somebody who talks to Neff probably like 4 or 5 times a week about stuff, there will be times where like our phone calls will just completely drop. It's absurd.
Ugh.
But yeah, man, we've got some really great tiers on here. We have our digital copy of the book. It's $10, but it's not just the digital copy, and it's limited to 50 because it also comes with a 3-month subscription to Global Comics.
Nice.
Which is an online database that of indie comics that's got several thousand entries. Like it's pretty freaking impressive.
Yeah, I've got a year membership because I backed Beyond Time Comics, John's not current campaign, but his last campaign. And I did it in a sneaky way because he was on with Sim and Sugar Chris, and Chris said, if anybody backs anything on this campaign, I will take out and display my red dress for you. 3 seconds later, $35 down. I got digital access to his whole catalog and everybody else's for a year.
Man, Sugar Chris putting some love on that campaign, getting in the red dress. I feel cheated.
I hadn't said anything in the chat almost to that point because he forgot I was there, and then he opened his mouth. And before we knew it, he was running off camera to strip down and actually wear the dress on cam.
That's amazing. Good for him.
Slay girl.
We've got the digital tier, and then our base tier. Before we actually get to the base tier, we have a El Guapo tier that's like, if you just want the book and you don't really care about any of the stretch goal tchotchkes or anything like that, and you just want the book, this is probably one of the coolest things that we're offering. Is for $10, you get the book, just the book, and then the shipping is covered in that $10. You pay no external shipping rates unless you're outside of the United States. But like domestic U.S. backers, you get it for $10 plus shipping. With no shipping. So it's a really good deal.
Welcome back.
Hey, I had to change rooms because for some reason the internet was being a bitch downstairs.
I already let them know that your house can have stupid Wi-Fi from time to time. I was like, yeah, there'll be times where Neff and I will be talking on the phone and he just disappears because you and I talk like at least 4 to 5 times a week, and that's actually on a low end.
Dude, 4 to 5 times a day. You call me all the fucking time. It's crazy. I like it.
Yeah, doesn't have a job.
You're the only person I talk to. I have no social life.
That's okay. Neither do I. Else I wouldn't be calling. It's all good. We all friends here. I'm excited to see you at Baltimore. That's going to be a good time.
That is going to be a good time. We got to find Will. We got to figure out how to hang out with Will.
That's easy. I'll give you my address. So I'll just come over and hang out one day.
Yeah, we should.
I got a 2,000 square foot loft. We could just do a whole show here.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, we could do that. I could bring over some miniatures. We could play some games, or we could bring over some
Shit, yeah.
comics, or whatever. Yeah.
And
So
this
we've got
Rich
a
Ayala
digital
print
tier.
is crazy.
We've got
Yeah.
a we've got a digital tier that has a subscription to 3 month subscription to Global Comics included. That's why it's limited to 50, because Chris from Global Comics gave me a limited number of redeemable renewal codes that when you activate your account, you get 3 free months of the paid membership, which means you can read anything that's behind the paywall. So you get access to all the comics on the site for free because you back this tier. Plus, you get our digital PDF to keep that's downloaded through their web service. Nice. So you get to keep it on your hard drive. You also get to keep it in your Global Comics long box if you choose to keep the membership after 3 months.
Very cool.
Then we got the El Guapo, which is Comic Plus free shipping, $10. And as I said, if we're going to retail stores with the version of the main version of the comic, it's going to be $6 or $7, and usually shipping's about $5. So you're still getting a savings on that.
Yeah.
That has the coin and the print on it, plus the comic. So that's probably about like $27, right? So you're still getting about 30% off. 7 plus 7 plus 7 is 21.
And it's a Rich Ayala print, so.
And it glows in the dark, which is not cheap to do, which
No.
is why it's about $10.
Yeah, Sean Zilla's finding that out because he just got his first glow in the dark commission from somebody at his show.
Oh, that's fun. Then that, in my opinion, that is the least exciting tier. It is the Liberté tier plus one of the variants, and it's Egalité, which is equality because they are equal in goodness, but you get to pick one. So weigh your choices. And I'm thinking, like, if you're going to get that, just splurge and get the $50 Fraternité tier, Brotherhood, which is the JudeX Black Terror crossover plus everything, and the other cover that you don't get backing this tier. So you get both variants on the Liberté tier plus the Vaughn crossover and the Monica print.
Choose wisely.
Well, I think you should just choose the full JudeX, because then you get everything and everything and free
that way
shipping.
we can sell out.
Yes,
sell
because
out.
there's only one left because you already sold two.
Yes, we did.
And there's a whole bunch of sketch cards, which is like really awesome.
Currently, yes, there are skunk cards. We do have Rich cards too, Rich Ayala cards.
Oh.
And we have Death Metal.
Yet.
We have Death Metal Hero cards, and we have cards from Avocado Molotov. We have a whole bunch of different sketch cards and other stuff that we will add to campaign as we go into these final 2 weeks stretch here. And then whatever we decide not to put up, which is probably going to include the action figure, we'll be putting over on the next campaign, which I think we'll be running on Kickstarter.
This card 3, the artwork on it is insane, though.
Oh yeah,
my favorite card.
It's yours. Go get it.
Go get it. Well,
buy it. Just buy it.
It's all good.
I personally like. So there is one that we did not put on the campaign, which is Odin's favorite, and it is JudeX. It is JudeX in the crowd, standing behind Hitler, who is giving a speech, like he's gonna pop out and smoke Hitler from the crowd. But we didn't put it up because it actually has Hitler standing there doing this salute, and I was like, we can't put that on the campaign. We can't do that. We can't sell that. No.
People will see that and be like, "Oh, they're Nazis." And I was like,
well, it's probably why we were already shadow banned, because there are swastikas on the wall and on armbands and everything. I kind of just want to put the front page of the comic up at this point.
There's a page going through the town early in the campaign where there's like a Hitler poster just right there on the wall. I'm like,
oh, dude, have you seen the first page of this comic? Because what we have there is the second page. Let me show you the first page of this comic. You could click on it, go to Global Comics, but I'm just going to show it. I'm just going to show it with you right now. I'm going to share it. Let me go into the Dropbox again real quick and grab the JPEGs. These are unlettered, but I want to see if I can get you the lettered one. Hold on, because the lettered one's actually really nice. I think that's under TIFFs. High-res TIFFs. There we go. Right? No, it would be under preview pages, Neff, because you did those as a preview, not as the high-res. Where are the teaser files? There we go. Very teaser. Okay. We will probably be changing the look of the narrative boxes, like the narration boxes, because we want to give JudeX more personality, and we have a special JudeX font that we'll be using.
Okay.
Can you see this? Okay. So do you hear it too, I wonder? The ragged gasp of the city in decay, too cruel to mourn. I'm sorry, too weak to mourn the cruelties to fate that on this night, an anniversary to mark the death of tyranny, Paris finds itself yoked to a yet more wicked regime. There is just a giant flippin' swastika on page 1. So we
until
didn't
you
put it on
scroll
the...
down, I was about to piss off Ogden again, be like, oh, look, it must be France. I see they're waving the white flag already.
But that's the thing, like, we didn't put this on the campaign page because I'm like, people might get the wrong idea, you know? Like, at least the guys, when we have the Nazis on the, in the teaser, right? When we have them getting shot in the face and everything, they're the bad guys. They're dying, quite clearly. I love this page. We took this down off the preview pages on the campaign because I was concerned that it was the gratuitous violence on this page that was getting a shadow banned. But that apparently isn't the case because we took this down and nothing changed.
I love his reflection in the pool of the dead Nazi.
Yes, I know.
It's so good.
It is written that way in the script, too.
That should be like a fridge magnet or something.
just the reflection, or the dude's face and the blood.
Oh, you gotta have that, like that whole panel, just like square it off into a fridge magnet.
And I love the beat. So he goes, you know, the widow's thirst for the wicked shall be sated. Her will is that of Paris, of justice. She'll see you delivered from this city to where you belong, for your ilk is not fit for her gutter, let alone her streets. And I love that beat right there in that last panel. It's so good. Really do.
His face when he gets the bullet in the back of the head. He looks like a chimpanzee that just got kicked in the nads.
Bad Nazi. But you know, I'm proud of this. I think this is a very well written book. I'm really proud of the layouts. I love the character. I love the story that Odin concocted about Javert, the Vichy policeman who's turned his back on his country and is now serving the enemy. So JudeX goes out to, you know, pass judgment on him. It's very poetic, very inspired. I love everything that we kind of put together into this book, and I believe in it. I think it's Mavericks worthy, man. Like it's good. Yeah. It's a very solid book, and we're going to be continuing it. We already have ideas for issues 2 and 3. I
have such a cool fucking idea over this. I just need to sit down and write it.
Yeah.
But like I know there are portions of it that I see in my head because like I know what I want to do.
Dude, just do it the way that you did the first one. Write prose. Yeah, write prose so the story is out. And then we'll sit down with it and we'll hammer out the finer details and the points to make the pages, make the dialogue sit into the panels where it needs to. We'll add any details that it's missing. We'll gussy it up. But like, you got to get the story that's in there out and onto the page so that we can then do the work on it.
I need to get my JudeX music playlist going because I didn't actually set one up for this.
You do.
But yeah, I adored writing this script, and I enjoyed writing the story and then working with Nat.
We wrote the script. Yeah, we wrote the script together. We worked on it together. Yeah. Like we took Odin's story and then broke it down by pages and broke it into panels. And took the dialogue that he'd written and transposed it into the script, and then we worked on the dialogue and made it fit better into the visuals as we broke down the layouts into page and panel composition. And like it was just a process of taking the thing that Odin made and then making it into the comic that it is now.
Yeah.
He conceived of the character, he conceived of the character design, he conceived of the plot in the first book. And all I did was just make it amazing. That's all.
The hubris of him, huh?
Yeah, right.
Don't be hubris if you fail.
Well, I mean, yeah. If you can, it's not complete and total like arrogance if you're good, right? Like if you're good
Yeah.
and you're good and you say you're good, it's because you're good. Yeah, you're a dick. Yeah, you're arrogant, but it's
we
not
knew that
like
about you already.
blind arrogance where you're like, I'm the shit and you're not the shit.
Oh man.
I've shown it to a couple of people. They're very satisfied with it too. They think it looks really good.
Like I've passed out a whole. I went to my first convention at Otakon a little while back, and I sold a whole bunch of preview books there. I've given them to a few people I know, and they've read it, and they came back to me. But my coworker read his preview that I gave him the other day, and he stopped by my cubicle with the JudeX preview specifically, and just walked in and went, "Why the fuck are you working here? You should be like dedicating yourself entirely to this. This was incredible."
And it's very hard to live on a diet of rice and beans while you take 2 years to put together the full mini series that's necessary to get into Diamond and find distribution. But you also need to build your name brand and get recognition from people. The reason that we see so many indie publishers now like Boom, Dynamite, IDW, Dark Horse is because they built themselves up over like 30 years at this point, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, when did Boom come out? It's at least 20 years. I think they were out in the 2000s,
Yeah,
right?
that sounds about right. I think that they first came on the scene with a few titles. They actually, one of their premier titles was this book called Black Market, which I fucking adored. It was really good.
But even companies like Mad Cave, right, and Scout and Band of Bards and Antarctic and Source Point, all these newer upstart companies, right, or boutique companies like Bad Idea, they're all run by people who have presence and reputation in the industry. It's not like nobody comes along and creates a comic book company. No, Bad Idea is run by the guy who did the Valiant relaunch. You just don't know who these people are necessarily because they're not famous comic book personalities. Like Jeff Lemire's is a famous writer, but you don't know how he's involved in these other companies, right? Like Tinian's name, right? But he's involved in these companies, and it's his reputation that is used to get these companies the exposure that they need in order to start making more and more and more books. And that's how they make it in stores. So you're either going to a larger publisher with a broader reach that has a more established distribution deal than you, so that you can get known, which you want to do with like a series that isn't your baby, that isn't your flagship, or you're working with people to try and build up your brand to the point where you can get on the stands, and people will be ordering 5 to 10 copies of every issue that you come out with. And it's very hard to do that when you're dedicating yourself full-time eating rice and beans writing comic books, because most of these publishers, they just hire writers. They're not also the writers themselves. And that's kind of what Odin and I are doing here, is we're making these books, we're writing these books, and we're also producing and publishing these books. And then, as far as a publishing company goes, we're selling these books. So it's a very consuming process.
Yeah, and there's also the reason why Odin works during the day in a cubicle is because his creditors don't accept exposure as payment.
That's fair. But all of this was done on the Global Frequency dime, right? So we paid for all of the art. We paid Odin to make sure that Odin had an advance on the script. We paid for all of the development. the turnarounds. We paid for all of the modeling. We paid for all of the marketing. We paid for all of the engineering. We paid for the printing of the 3D sculpts. We're paying for all the painting, which, it's mostly supplies and stuff that, if I'm doing it myself. But like all of it is done on the company dime, so to speak, to kind of make this thing attractive enough that people go, oh, it's a cool thing. I want it, right? And the problem is, the real discouraging problem is when you put so much money, time, effort, care, thought, attention to detail, and passion into a project, and then Indiegogo's like, no one ever sees it.
Yeah.
No one ever sees it.
Yeah, and
Great.
like that's
Thanks.
I genuinely think that we would have hit 10K by the end of week 1 if we had not gotten shadow banned.
Yeah, we would probably be up, I think. I think this series could have cleared 20 in 60 days on Indiegogo and 30 days on Kickstarter if you combine the totals. I think we could probably hit 6 to 8 on Kickstarter, which is probably what we're going to do anyway. And we could have hit 12 on Indiegogo, 12 to 15. So I'd say we could do between 18 and 23,000 on the two combined, which is why I think 20 is a safe bet. The only problem is we didn't get there because Indiegogo really didn't help us out. But we've got some stuff planned for the final 2 weeks of the campaign. I think we've still got 19 days left, so we're not quite to 2 weeks. And then we've got another 30-day campaign coming for Kickstarter, and then we're going to be going to fulfillment. Cool.
Now, I know for a fact, because I know other people that do the cosplay thing, many people that, that I see at shows that, professionally make, all these masks for various mainstream stuff. And this is like right on point. That the $300 for the mask is what you're going to pay to wear, the same Red Hood helmet that like 8,000 other people are wearing at the same show.
Right. A standard paintball cosplay, like a PVC or fiberglass.
Yeah.
Cosplay helmet is easily $200 to $250. Mm-hmm. So this is also ABS plastic. It is hand sculpted, and hand painted. That's the difference. It's not like we put our assemble it in China and then do a press decal to it to make it look like. There are, airbrush applications, and each of those links is done by hand. That's not something that I want to do, right? That's a pain in the ass to do. And I'm doing each one myself, or I'm bringing on my painter to do it, and he needs to get paid, right? It's the same thing as like a colorist on a coloring book, or a comic book, rather.
Comic book. I have coloring books. You have comic books. Right. I do purchase lots of comic books, as you saw earlier, but
the $500 Widow, the reason that it's so much more expensive is because not only are there more parts to it, more colors, there's the handle, there's also the collector's box and the
velvet lining.
Whatchamacallit, what is it called?
The mount?
The arm. Yeah, the mounting bracket, the bracket that you attach to the wall, so it's like an actual display box. Not only is there the antique ivory finish on the handle that we have to do, and in addition to the gold and the silver and the coiling and everything, but there are internal components and assemblies so that you can cock the gun, rotate the cylinder, and pull the trigger so the hammer falls. Wow. So it's a functional thing, and getting those pieces right has been an enormous pain in the butt. But there's like assembly involved in that. It's not just a big old piece of ABS that I spray paint and then do up the chains. It's like you have to paint all this stuff in components, and no, it's a nightmare. And then there's the box too. And then of course the cape is this custom cape, and we want to include the hat.
And the Widow reminds me of a band I used to really like.
Oh, really?
Velvet Revolver.
Ah, there you go. Velvet collector's box and a revolver. Yeah.
And that to your playlist.
On the mask and on the Widow, the Face of Justice and the Hand of Justice tiers, both of those come with the Liberté tier. So you do get the comic, you do get the coin, you do get the print, and you get free shipping because the mask and the gun require special shipping in and of themselves. So I'm not going to make you pay for shipping on the comic book too when I'm already taking a bite of like $30 for shipping. I'm not going to make you pay $30. I'm going to bake it into the price. But there is an option to upgrade it to the Liberté tier, which includes the 2 variant covers, the crossover comic, and the metal mini print for only $15, which is half price for what that would normally be if you were going to just get the Liberté tier by itself. So we give you like a discount to add on upgrade, and I think that was a pretty sweet thing to do also.
Oh, yeah.
You're saving 50% on top of the 30% you already saved.
So you've only got one full JudeX left. And when I scrolled down, I saw this. I'm like, holy cosplay, Batman.
Yeah, yep.
This
We give
is
you
really
everything
impressive.
except the pinstripe suit. You need to furnish the pinstripe suit on your own.
You can buy that anywhere.
Exactly.
They
you
still
can't
make
buy
those.
this anywhere. You
can't
get
buy
the
this
mask,
anywhere
the
but
cape.
here.
Yeah. And I've only found one hat vendor that does a hat that's big enough.
Yeah, so this is the all-encompassing. It's $1,000.
It's
There are
everything
only
on the
3
campaign.
available. Everything that you can get is right here. Plus, you have a costume that you can wear and go hang out at the convention with both Odin and Global Frequencies.
And that's the other thing is that you don't have to use it all together. The cape by itself is just a dope ass cape. You can pair that with whatever, like it's a gold interior pattern, and it's I think it's like a velvety material or a suede material. I'm not sure. Freak Girl would have to tell you. On the outside, it's just a very stylish cape. It doesn't have to be part of the JudeX cosplay.
No, you can just wear it to like the Ren Fair or something.
Exactly. You go to the Ren Fair. You could pretend you're Phantom of the Opera. You could do anything. You could incorporate it into a different cosplay. That's why I think it's like such a versatile thing, and it being handmade, hand sewn, handcrafted, and tailored. You know that it's going to be of that type of quality. It's not going to be some sort of like cheap, weird, store-made assembly line knockoff cape. It's made with attention to detail, care, and love. So I'm pretty sure that last one's going to disappear before the campaign ends, and if not, I'm pretty sure it'll disappear during in demand if we keep it on the campaign when it goes in demand. We might remove the props when we go in demand because I don't want someone backing the campaign 3 months later and being like, "Ayo, get me a mask," and I'm like, "Bruh, I've already printed the number of masks I need and painted them. I can't turn around and get you another mask in a week. That doesn't work that way." So we might have to remove the props and stuff when we go in demand.
Yeah, and I think that it might be a thing where we might keep it on. Like when you guys are getting ready to make the masks, we make an announcement that this is the last chance to get all of the props, and we do.
I think it'll work. Yeah, it'll definitely work for the month that it's in demand while Kickstarter is live.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if we can do that, actually. I'd have to double check to see if we can leave it in demand while the Kickstarter is live, or if we have to only have one.
It wouldn't be an active campaign, so I don't think it's a breach of the terms of service. We'll double check.
Yeah. Right. But if it is a breach, then you'll still be able to get, the props on the Kickstarter for, the month of October.
Yeah.
This Irwin's cover is just
gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
See, that's the Lemarion in the middle. We could try and find the actual homage cover. I think I sent it to him in an email. Give me a second. I can see if I can bring it up. So I don't think I sent it to him on Twitter. I think I sent it in an email. Because I don't know if finding the Alex Ross piece is going to be that easy on the internet. You can look for it.
I know exactly which one it is. It's
me too. I just don't know what it's called or how to find it.
It's
here it is.
I'm fairly certain it's a Shadow Year One homage.
This is the one I sent it to him. Present, share screen. Oh, god damn it. We have a bot in the chat.
Oh, we got Aerith bot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aerith bot. So this is the homage that it's based, this is the original that it's based off of. This is the homage.
Nice.
I think he pretty much nailed it from there, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, but use this lady's face, right? For the middle, right? The La Marianne face, the topless lady in the French Revolution painting. I don't know if you can show it because of nudity. But she's my friend, Neff. Oh boy.
She needed a friend that bad because you were on stream.
Like, but how did that happen? Like, we're not pro semi-sentient AI in service to fleshy overlords. It's just not a good arrangement. Aerith, how did you get my wife on your side? I must know.
I'm about to channel my inner Mo Biggs.
Mm-hmm.
AI in timeout. Mo would be proud.
Comments removed. Oh goodness.
We're going to get shit, but we're pro. Oh, okay. We're gonna get shit later for having angered the AI. Suddenly my internet's gonna go out again, and all sorts of horrible things are gonna happen. You'll never see that.
There's that Rust Leech glow in the dark.
That's just awesome. And when you look to the background to the Eiffel Tower, it almost looks like there's a black velvet painting behind his illustration of Jude.
I think he froze now.
Am I there? Hi.
You're back.
I was saying. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Now they're messing with my internet. What the hell?
It's because you blocked the bot.
I only pay $10 a month, but still, I should have something decent. No, I was saying that the image of the Eiffel Tower behind Jude, the way he did it, it makes it almost look like a velvet painting, like one of the velvet black glow in the dark paintings behind him. And I know it's glow in the dark, but can you not hear me?
Yeah,
What?
we can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Neff was staring very intensely at his screen, reading something. So
Neff,
I'm getting messages from the AI.
Oh,
I have angered the bots. Oh no! Oh no!
We've upset Mrs. Neff. We're all going to die horribly before Baltimore, or maybe at Baltimore. Good thing I'm not going. Let me know how that turns out.
This is so freaking cool. The page that's coming right after this one is going to be so freaking cool.
I don't think Mo would like that one.
Why?
It's very manga-ish.
Oh, whatever.
That's Monica, though. That's Monica's style, and Terry the Trenches is a Western comic. It's not backwards. You know what? Odin would know what manga-ish is. Know what qualifies as not being the weeb that he is.
This is very Bruce Timm, 1990s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited. It's very much got that vibe. That's what they were going for with Terror in the Trenches, and that's what they were going for with this crossover, and they crushed it. It's phenomenal. It's a great translation of the JudeX, especially into that style, I believe. And the sexy lady vampires in the back are very much feel like how Bruce Timm was drawing the ladies at that point in time. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of manga influence in there,
but it's nowhere near as prominent. I think Mo would be fine. In fact, I'm fairly certain Mo was trying to get this tier of the book. Like he wants that crossover because Black Terror is really good.
Oh,
It was a very enjoyable. Yeah, I haven't even finished reading it yet.
I got excited for a second because I thought for like a split second that I almost saw Captain Harlock in the background.
Yes, I could see that you making the association with the design, but that's Vigo von Blood,
Yeah.
the Nazi necromancer.
Oh, great. I just had a flashback to Ghostbusters 2.
Vigo, why am I covered in goo?
That's a great image right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good.
That's after Judex has slain the Nazis and he is preparing to judge Javert, and Javert is feeling the weight of his guilt. It's wrapping himself like this. That's, I think, my favorite sketch card. That one right there.
It's very good.
Odin likes the Nazi one. Surprised though. I'm very surprised. That guy right there is Ritter von Wotan. He's the antagonist that Judex is going to eventually face. That's your favorite.
Yep.
Will's gonna back it. I know it. I got a
I don't
feeling.
know who I don't know who the dude is, but I like it's
I'm fairly
like
certain
probably
it's Pablo Picasso.
that could, yeah, that makes sense then. Like portrait
Because-
of the artist with the portrait of the Judex.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was Wilfred Brimley. I was waiting for him to tell me about diabetes and oatmeal.
Picasso lived in Paris during the occupation, and he actually designed he did a statue that became the symbol of the resistance. So he's actually like
Didn't he paint? Well, that was the Spanish Civil War. Never mind. I was like, didn't he paint Guernica? Yeah, it was Spanish Civil War. That was not the nuclear bomb.
And then there's Skunk Guard's print, which is really cool. I love it.
That is a stretch goal on the campaign everyone's getting. It's already been unlocked. It's also glow in the dark, but the original is available for purchase. The original is not glow in the dark. It's it's painting.
And I thought this was a cool idea. The map of Paris with the stretch goals.
Yeah, let's get to 10. When we get to 10, we unlock something really cool. 1250 is also something very cool. I would love to get both of those unlocked before this finishes, because I would like for everybody to get their JudeX glow-in-the-dark standees and their copy of the Cassini map.
Yeah. Which are the next two stretch goals, right? Those are at 10K.
Right, I'm just like blowing up the spot, telling everyone what they are.
Yeah.
But not what they look like.
Right. Well, the Cassini map you can probably look up. It's a historical map that is the first accurate topographical map of France, specifically Paris. It was the first time they mapped out the city from above. And JudeX uses it in his Court of Miracles to plan his movements through Paris. So there may or may not be like secret hidden JudeX pathways that he has access to, somehow hidden in the folds of the map. And we're not sure if we're doing it as a paper map or as a cloth map. Rini suggested cloth. She really wants to see cloth, but right now paper is very easy, accessible, and you can do blacklight ink. I don't remember what it's called, but it's the ink that iridescent ink. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, something like that.
It shows up. Yeah, it shows up under the blacklight, which I think would be really neat to like put in. The little glowing lines and shit. I'll show you a quick look at the page with the Cassini map in the JudeX story. Here, tell me if you can see this. Okay, so this is the Cassini map.
Oh, nice.
I hate this. God damn it. There. Right? No, wrong one. There we go. So that's the Cassini map, and JudeX has drawn in the landmarks because when this map was made, some of those didn't even exist.
Yeah.
It's that old. So we're doing like a replica of this map with the landmarks and maybe some like glowy hidden pathways or something.
Oh, cool. Granite State 2. Oh, no.
The bot returns.
Leave her alone. Leave her alone. I don't want to get shit from Aerith later.
Well, as long as it's just you. So we've got the James Dean bookmark, the die cut bookmark. We've got the skunk glow in the dark print. We've got chibi stickers from Shay, and 2 trading cards whose names I can pronounce Marcos Martins, but I'm not going to attempt that one.
Puji Tree. Puji Tree.
Oh, okay.
He did a really good job on the Ritter card. He really put a lot of effort into the Ritter card.
Mm.
Other ways you can help. Share out the campaign on your social media to everybody.
Yeah, please. The eyes on would be a great benefit. But we're rolling along.
So 17 days left for this, and 118 backers.
17. Where does the time go? Man, I thought it was 19.
Yeah, we need to figure out where we're going to be. Do we know where we're going to be closing on?
No, we haven't decided yet.
I know that Bancroft wanted to have us on at least one more time while we were live.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm a little bit disillusioned if you can't tell. I'm a little bit cranky. I'm a little bit sour, salty, all the flavors. Plus, I watched Ahsoka today, so, I haven't made any decisions.
Look, I didn't bring it back this time.
It's just come for full circle. We're getting towards the end. I actually got to hop off.
The circle is complete.
I've actually got to hop off and get some rest. I've got some stuff I got to take care of tomorrow.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen it.
Oh, between Neff's distaste for Ahsoka and mine for the Rebel Moon trailer. So.
Oh man, the Rebel Moon trailer. That is, everything is all over the place. It's like they put all of the sci-fi fantasies tropes into a blender and told us we were going to like it. I like all of the things in there. I don't know if I like all of the things together. I don't know how they all connect, and it's just overwhelming. It's like, I like filet mignon, right? That's delicious. I like a nice glass of wine. I like ice cream, tiramisu. I like a Snickers bar. Sometimes I like bananas. But you put all that shit in a blender and you go, eat up! I don't know, man. It's not for me. No, I'm all right.
Yeah,
you just ruined my ice cream with literal blood.
Yeah, that was what I was saying even in the back of the green screen. It's a visual, incoherent fucking mess. There's a lot of stuff I like in the trailer, and I want to like the trailer, but I dare somebody to give me a fucking synopsis of that movie without looking at the official release. Going ahead. Tell me what that fucking movie is supposed to be.
No idea. About. I do like Charlie Hunnam, and I'm glad that he's back doing something.
Jamon Hunsu deserves to be in more shit too. I love that he's taking a principal lead in the movie. I look at this and I see, so part of this looks like medieval. This looks like sci-fi Arthur. Part of this looks like a weird Warhammer 40K frickin' thing, and then part of it looks like John Carter from Mars, and then part of it looks like Space Robin Hood, and none of these things blend. They're so
wrong.
Fucking different.
You ain't wrong.
And there's nothing that ties all of those elements together in the trailer. And the thing that should be doing this is the frickin' voiceover, which feels like a King Arthur something ripped out of a King Arthur book, and it doesn't fit in with anything that they show. I think it might fit with one or two scenes, but like it's not coherent at all. And the fact that Snyder is already talking about, oh well, I'm going to be doing like a 4.5-hour director's cut for each of the movies. Like, dude, fuck you. Like, learn how to tell a story within your time run. You hack.
Instead of having to explain everything after the fact.
It's like these director's cuts are fucking vanity bullshit. Cut it out. But anyways, guys, I've gotta pop off. I gotta get some rest.
Okie dokie.
But thank you so much for having me, Will. Neff, it was good seeing you. I'm sorry that Ahsoka has completely ruined your night. I hope that you at least had a good time hanging out here with me and Will.
That was okay. Yeah, I mean, it's great hanging out with Will.
Ow.
He's sick of hanging out with you.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy. Get some sleep.
Cheers. Night.
Cheers. Bye.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in and hanging out, even the bot. And make sure you back JudeX. The actual link that works is in the description, and you can also find it through following the Global Frequency and the other Frenchy guy that just left.